With it being a new moon today, I wanted to share some of my favorite ways to kind of harness the energy of change, of creating something new, of setting intentions on what it is that you want and reminding you that, you know what, you can change. Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place, because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. Oh my goodness, we are back for season 3 of the Elevated Life Podcast. It has been so much fun delivering all of these episodes over the last 2 years, but you know what? We needed a little break. We had a lot of things going on, including our Evolved Couples Retreat, which if you haven't heard the last episode where we share all the insights that were gained from that experience, then I highly recommend you go back and check that one out. But we also had to move through some crazy transitions, like my dad's 1-year passing. We took time to go to Nashville with my family and friends and celebrate. And we also are preparing for the next Goddess Retreat. So it was time for us to kind of revive, revamp, and replan what those next steps are. And with it being a new moon today, and new moons are always a reminder to plant new seeds, set new intentions, and start afresh, that's the theme going on in the Carmichael household, is spring cleaning, decluttering, planting new seeds, and really getting clear on what it is we want to be doing moving forward.
You know, following sort of nature's path and just watching nature a little bit, seeing how it works, how nature evolves, how nature lets things rest, how nature has a time for all the different seasons. It's great to play along into that, because, you know, it's not that nature's something separate from us. It's, you know, we are nature too. Like we come out of this. And it's great to follow that path and to be a part of it and to say, you know what, maybe if I aligned what I'm doing with the way nature does stuff, maybe that can be a complementary kind of symbiotic relationship that we have. And the spring is one of my favorite times, because like Britt said, it's one of those times where I plant all those seeds. And it's not just being out there in the garden, although we have been doing that. We've been planting. If you are a gardener, please reach out to us. Talk to us about what you're planting.
Tell us your secret.
Yes, this is not something that we're new at, but it is something that we're trying to get better at. So if you have a good resource or anything like that, please let us know. It's exciting. I love gardening. If you've never done it, go do something small. Go find a plant, and I'll
plant
tell
some
you,
basil.
I'll tell you the truth is that you'll probably kill your first one at least, or maybe you'll have better luck than we did. We definitely killed more plants in the beginning that thrived. It was bleak, and in one moment I thought maybe we're not supposed to be growing stuff.
I mean, the whole reason why we went vegan is because we killed a plant.
Oh my gosh, it's true. And so get your hands dirty. Go be out there. If it's spring where you are, if it's starting to warm up at all, if you can get outside at all, get that good vitamin D. We've been dormant. It's been winter season. And so you spend a little extra time inside during that. It's, hopefully you got some good rest in. Hopefully you thought about where your life's going, where you're heading, because now it's that time to take action. Now it's that time to start really evolving that. If you remember back at the beginning of the year, we did a podcast on how we started decluttering, because I always like to start the process early. I always like to start cutting the weeds back as they're dying away in my life, and that represents everything. That's not just a literal meaning. It's maybe letting loose of some relationships you've been holding on to for too long. And that doesn't always mean like you burn bridges and you leave in an unhealthy way. That just means maybe you start putting your energy into some new relationships, or maybe you find a new hobby, or maybe you pick up a workout routine. Do something that is going to inspire you, that you're going to like, and say, I know that I'm going to have to shift my time a little bit, because how I'm spending my time maybe is not the exact best that I could be doing. And now's the time to be thinking about that. Like, what do you want for the rest of the year? What is this year going to look like for you? How can you improve? And not by trying hard. Remember, improving is always found in all of our routines. It's not something like one big strive for it effort. It's something that's a little bit, but accumulated over time. So how are you going to start changing up your life? How are you going to start managing your time in a different way?
I know that's been such a massive topic for us lately, is like, what does the new daily life look like? What does that new daily routine look like? And what has come to surprise me in the last 6 or so years of having my online blog is the most popular blogs that I have that get shared the most are actually my new and full moon rituals. And with it being a new moon today, I wanted to share some of my favorite ways to kind of harness the energy of change, of creating something new, of setting intentions on what it is that you want, and reminding you that, you know what, you can change. You can change from moment to moment, month to month, year to year. You don't have to wait for some, pie in the sky thing or burnout, or you hit rock bottom to make those changes. I always recommend people make the changes when they start feeling that inner nudge, where there's that constant story that you're telling yourself, like, I really want to do more of this, or why do I keep doing the same thing? I really want to change. And with the new moon today, I want to remind you that today's a powerful day to plant new seeds, to literally and metaphorically. Go get in your garden, throw some seeds in the ground. You'll be surprised. I've learned so much from gardening about life and just respect and responsibility too. But more than anything, plant the seeds of intentions. Start creating those desires and write them down. This is what I found to be the most powerful thing, is that we think about them for like 0.2 seconds. We're like, yeah, I want more this, or I would like this, or more money, or more friends, or blah, blah, blah. Like, we think about it for a second. But what I have come to learn is that when we take the time to write it down, to really feel it out, to really get in our body and visualize what it is we want to create, and more importantly, pretend as if we already have it and step into the gratitude as if it were already here now. When you activate those emotions along with the intention, you create this magnetic, powerful force that draws it into your life even faster.
Dang. It is such a powerful exercise to do. And the problem is that most of us aren't spending enough time doing it. And so what I recommend you do, if you've got a partner, if you've got kids, get them to do it with you, get them in on this. And it's important to do the exact same exercises for them, but by yourself. In other words, you visualize in your mind what would most light them up, or you visualize in your mind what it is that would serve their highest purpose for them. And you don't have to tell them about this. You just make it happen in your head and spend a little time doing it. Spend 5 minutes doing it. Spend 10 minutes doing it. But first, like Britt said, get that list out, start writing it down. Write it down first, and then hit that visualization in your mind and just focus on that. Focus with your whole heart. And remember, there's some caveats to visualization that you don't want to skip out on. The first one is, stop picturing what it is that you don't want. So if you're like, I don't want to be in this crappy relationship, when you go to do your visualizations, you don't need to be thinking crappy relationship. Just think about loving relationship. Make sure you make that distinction, because you don't realize how powerful you are a lot of times. And what ends up happening, you just start manifesting. You're like, well, how come that didn't work? It did. It worked perfectly. You just did it wrong.
You just focused on the wrong thing. And that's what the full moon is for. On the full moon, you write about all the shit you don't want. We burn the bullshit away. We write it on a piece of paper and stick it in a burning bowl of fire. And that is one of the first exercises that we do at my goddess retreats. I actually asked some of the girls, what was your favorite part? And someone just recently told me that burning the bullshit exercise was life-changing for me. She said she let go of stuff that she had been holding on to for a very long time, and she continues to do this practice every single month. And that's the problem, is that we accumulate and we carry this burden and this weight for so long, and we wait until we break down or maybe break through, whatever the case may be for you. But the monthly full and new moons are reminders to restart, are reminders to reset. They're reminders to get clear with what it is you want to create, to put you back into power, whether that is the power of surrender or the power of manifestation.
And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier, and that is adding some of nature's stuff into your life. We're going to have new moons. We're going to have full moons. It's going to keep happening. You may as well align some of your life with it. Even if you're not woo-woo, these are perfect reminders. I mean, hell, the moon's out there. You can see it. I don't know how much more woo we need to be, but these are just some reminders like, hey, okay. And again, if you've got a partner or kids, get them in on this, because a lot of people aren't being really intentional with their lives. They're thinking at one time in their life like, oh, this is what I want. And then they just don't change it. They just keep going. They're like, well, why is my life boring, or why am I not fulfilled? Well, maybe it's because you're still living your dream back when you were 17, and maybe your dream is altered or changed, or you're into new things now, or you want to do it in a different way or with somebody else. It's time for change, and embrace that. I know we resist change so often, but you got to go with it. And the way that you go with it is to start to plan for it. Okay, well, I'm going to change some things, and make it small too. Maybe you watch too much TV. Maybe you scroll on social media too much. Cut it in half or cut it out completely, and just try that from new moon to new moon.
Gosh, can you imagine just cutting your habit in half?
Just in half. I'm not asking you to leave it. You know, if you're one of those people like, I'm a snacker. Good, cut it in half. So what? Cut it in half from there. And then once you get to the next level, cut it in half again. And then cut it in half again. Because you'll have gotten used to it. You'll say, okay, this is my new bar level that I've set. Now I'm going to just cut that down in half. Same way with your goals. If you have something that you really like doing, you've been walking a little bit, maybe just out walking 15, 20 minutes, bump it up. Bump it up. Hit it 35 minutes. Hit it for 40 minutes. Do a little bit longer. Do it with a weight vest on. Just do something a little bit harder or a little bit less. And what you'll end up finding is you can make big changes. And that's what I like to use the moons for. It gives me time to say, I'm going to experiment with what my regular routine is, or the regular way that I do things. And so for this next month, I'm going to do something that I'm already doing that I enjoy. I'm going to do it a little bit more. I'm going to take something that probably pulls me a little bit away from my real path, and I'm going to do just a little bit less. And just those two little bitty changes, huge over the next month, and it'll give you an opportunity to see it. How did I flourish? When I get to the new moon next month, I'm going to ask myself, how did I flourish? What is it that I was doing that made a difference? Do I like that still? And if not, I'm going to change it again. It just reminds me that it's time for a change. And that's what I love about this spring season. It gets me, there's like a fire inside. I light up a little bit. I get excited because I really like to embrace that, because we always need updating, because we've learned new information. Whether you read it, whether you went through some lessons that you had to learn the tough way, whether you had some successes, no matter what you did, you figured out something new. Not only in the last month, but in this last year, in the last springtime. You figured out something. What did you reap back then? What did you sow? What did you reap? And how can you do it different this year? How can you do a little bit better? How can you minimize the parts of your lives that are more distracting, that are taking you away from the things that you want to be doing?
Gosh, can you imagine what it would be like if you just made one small change every new moon at the end of the year's time? Like, how much would have changed? You talk about small changes over time making a big impact. And sometimes it's overwhelming when we think about making big changes. So maybe you break down whatever that big goal is for body, mind, health, wealth, purpose in life, connection with people. Like, map out those main categories in your life and ask yourself, like, what's that big breakthrough that I want to have? And then give yourself permission to break it down, like work backwards. Like, if I could break this up into like 6 steps, like give myself 2 months, like what would that look like? And you'll find that it seems so much more doable. Like, whenever we're hiking mountains, I never like look to the peak and I'm like, oh, 14,000 feet. Like, how are we ever going to get there? I just look to the next like that next piece of the trip, like, oh, look at that huge tree up there, look at that like rock face here. Like, if we get to that point, then the view will be so beautiful, we can take a break and rest and then keep going. So it's like breaking down the full goal into small actionable steps.
And you hear that a lot, and it sounds, you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But what I notice is that there's a huge difference between what successful people are doing and what people who are more used to failure are doing. And that is that the failure people a lot of times continuously step back and look at the whole journey. And it's too much. It's too much. And it makes you be like, ugh, I'm never going to get there. It's like that feeling that you have inside of like, this journey is too long. It's too hard. I'm going to be hungry. This is going to go down. I think there's a rain cloud coming off in the distance. And the people who are successful just keep going. There's not a pause. They don't just stop and just continuously look up. They're just going. And I have some friends, I've had some clients that are like that. And man, it is, every time I talk to them or see them again, hearing what stories have unfolded in their life is always amazing. Because you're like, dang, man, you were getting it. You were just flat, just constantly getting it. And that's the one thing that I find with them that they say. They just keep their head down and keep going. Don't worry about the rest of it. It'll fall into place as it's supposed to be. It's great to have that much belief in life and belief in yourself, because you can accomplish things that seem impossible.
Project Possible.
Yeah.
We just watched a documentary called 14 Peaks. Is that what it was called?
14 Peaks.
14 Peaks. And it was this project where these Nepalese Sherpas, basically mountaineers, were trying to climb the top 14 tallest mountains that are over 8,000 meters. And he wanted to do it in less than 7 months. And the only person to have ever climbed all 14 of them, it took him 16 years to do it.
I mean, and these are things that you could easily die on. I mean, the weather conditions, what they're facing, the cold,
avalanches.
All these have the dead zone,
oxygen.
Yeah, which is basically almost no oxygen. So your brain just doesn't. You don't function correctly. Not only is it difficult to move, but it's difficult to even like have like good thoughts. And so it's extremely dangerous. And man, just watching their tenacity and watching them never give up, even despite facing horrendous challenges. I mean, things that other people easily would have cowered away from, gotten into kind of the sad mode, tucked their head a little bit, and nope, not us. We're doing it. I believe. And I think that's really the theme here for spring is I believe. And if you can keep your I believe part of yourself strong enough,
then you can achieve.
Well, throughout the summer, it sounds so cheesy, throughout the summer, but that's what we're all here to do. And when you feel the most excited and alive are those moments where when you're in that flow state and you're just like, I'm nailing it. I'm just firing on all cylinders. I feel so good inside. And so much of that has to do about what you believe.
And who you surround yourself with, too, the environment. If you think about, we're on a garden kick, okay? So if you think about the environment of the seeds and how they thrive as a community matter. And the same is true because what I really took away from that was like, holy shit, Project Possible was possible because of the belief. But what I thought was interesting is they came to a mountain where there was a group of mountaineers that had gone up and tried to attempt the peak. Was this on K2? Maybe. I don't remember which mountain it was. But anyway, it's a fucking tall one. And they had all come back down multiple times. Like, I can't make it. It's too hard. We're just, I think we're going to call it this year. And they spend years training for this. And they're just going to turn around and go home. And then Project Possible team shows up. And they bring this lighthearted attitude. They're playing. They're like, we're going to get drunk tonight. Everyone's spirits are low. He read the room. He saw the energy. Well, outside really, but he saw that they needed that inspiration, that lighthearted playfulness. So if you're at a point in your journey where you feel like giving up and you're so freaking close, fucking just take a step back and have a party. Have a celebration for how far you've come. Like, give yourself that congratulations before you even get to the end of the goal line so that you have that momentum and motivation, especially if you've been knocked down. But what I found was interesting is they had that party, they got together, and the next morning they got up and they got to the summit. They went to, funny enough, you're wearing a mountain shirt right now. Like, this is with a peak and like 2 peaks. This is kind of funny. But I find it really interesting that this whole group, the morale was low. They're like, we can't do it. We can't do it. And it just took one small group of people to walk in and say, oh, hell no, we got this.
This is the same reason why a lot of people invest in a good coach. This is why you see them in every sport. I mean, in politics, and everyone has either a mentor or an advisor or someone who's sort of training them in the way, or in a way, and it's that person is there to kind of pick you up, because we are going to have those down moments. But like being a leader, that's not important. The down moments aren't important. You're there to help your team persevere through that. And I think that's one of the big, we call ourselves Team Carmichael over here. And that's because like I've started a long time ago. There was a moment we were fighting and it was bad. It was in the first maybe year and a half. And it was nasty because both of us stubborn, both of us bullheaded. We want to get our way and we're used to pushing through, and
we're both air signs.
All right. We're both air signs then. And I remember there was a moment where I stopped and I was like, I'm over this. Like I'm tired of we're not going to get anywhere. And I knew it. There was a standstill just like it always was. And I remember looking over at Britt and it's funny because in that moment she looked really beautiful. She always did, but it was like in that moment she was so fiery, and I thought, man, it is beautiful. She is so passionate about something that's probably extremely trivial right now, but that passion's really beautiful. And I just remember looking at her and saying, we should just be on the same team from now on. Like, what do you think if we just stopped being individuals and started being more just on a team? And so on the days where you are down a little bit, I'll pick you up. And days I'm down a little bit, maybe you'll pick me up. And we'll see how that goes. So that was our new moon intention. And so we carried it through. And it's one of those important things that if you can see yourself as a team, you start to be a little different. Because I'm not just looking out for me, I'm looking out for all of us. Can I do things that move us all along together? Now still doing things for me and doing my self-care and doing, yeah, of course, that helps the team. But it's thinking about that team a lot and then considering where people are on your team. So who are you surrounding yourself with right now in life? Who are those people on your team? If you had to have a mastermind group that was one extra person beside you, who would it be? And are you talking to that person as though they're in your mastermind? Are you talking to that person as though their ideas are important, that they make a big difference in your life? Have you told them that lately? Have you said, hey, I just want to tell you that you're important in my life and what you tell me makes a big difference and I really respect your opinion and I care about you. Thank you so much for doing that. That's the kind of people you want to surround yourself with. Make yourself a mastermind. Not all friends go in the mastermind. Doesn't mean they're not your friends. They're just not in the mastermind group. They're not in the VIP group. And that's okay. Not everybody's there to take on the whole journey with you. People come part of the way. They'll join up. They'll fall off. They'll come back later. You'll see them again. But get to that spot where you're like, hey, I'm going to make a mastermind. And we're going to get together. And we're going to talk about big stuff in life. Not drama. Not what movies to go see. Not what's going on. That nonsense. What are we building this year? Like, what's going to be our big thing?
I mean, think about it. We essentially have created a monthly mastermind inside the Elevated Life Club where we teach live every month, do group coaching, yoga, meditation, and those people that show up month after month, year after year, are making massive changes in their life. They are healing their relationships, they're growing their businesses, they're releasing past traumas. Like, it's been so incredible to see the empowerment and confidence and transformation that has happened in showing up every month and cheering each other on. I mean, ultimately, us creating the Elevated Life Club over 5 years ago to have this ongoing monthly wisdom and teaching and connection is part of the reason what stemmed creating the in-person retreats, because we were finding that connecting and with these people in a consistent way was creating change. There's accountability. There was support. There was belief. When the fear came up in your life, there's someone to lean on and say, are you crazy right now? Like, you're amazing. Like, don't fall back. Don't be afraid. Just move forward with courage. And being in person with people, whether it's, in person on the Zoom call and our monthly membership, or it's in person in the retreats, like the healing that happens when you show up and commit to move forward together is incredible.
Yeah, it's something different. It's something to start planning into your life. If you don't have a group that you're with, you don't have a mastermind, get one. We're available here if you want to be
hang out.
If you want to be part of ours, but
get
you one. Get one. It's super important. It's super important that moving you forward, because think about it. If you're just one mind, you can only see so much. And the big problem is that as individuals, it's tough for us to see our blind spots, and we all have them. And that's what the mastermind's there to do. They're loyal to you. They're honest. But it comes from a loving way. It's not a group of people to judge you and put you down at all. This is a way so that you can start to figure out, oh man, I do have that. I have been doing that. Wow, I didn't even know that. Thanks for pointing that out. And it becomes, you're not taking it as criticism. You're taking it as how can I make this and be useful out of it? How can I take this and apply it to my life so that I can make changes that would work really well for me? It's great to have a mastermind. That's probably one of the top 3 or 4 things to have in your life, is people are surrounding you that will lift you up.
Oh, it's so true. And I have a couple of different friends that I mastermind with every month for different areas of my life that they are really knowledgeable in. But I wouldn't take my health advisor as my financial advisor. You know what I mean?
The last thing about spring too is to make sure that you are really decluttering everything. And when we talk about decluttering, that again, the garden idea of weeding out everything. And this is not just what we talked about in winter, where you're kind of going through your emails and unsubscribing, you're getting rid of magazines or TV channels, all the stuff that you don't watch anymore, the stuff that's not going to serve your purpose now, or that doesn't really excite you anymore. It's also about getting rid of the thoughts. A lot of this is going to be thoughts. What we want to spring clean, besides our pantry and all that stuff, is to go through and do a really big inventory of what's going on in our heads. What are those things that are continuously coming up for us, and how do we either neutralize them, defeat them, or change them? Because that's only the chances that we really have of making it out of the loops that happen. And so think about what's been going on. And if you don't know the answer to that, that's okay too. What you need to do is just get quiet with yourself for a good 10 or 15 minutes and just sit there and breathe for a little bit. And the thoughts will come up. You'll notice what your predominant thoughts are. And just take an inventory every once in a while during the day. What's my thought right now? What am I thinking about? Do it every time you like walk out the door, every time you get in the car, or pick something that you do regularly and say, what am I thinking right now? And start to do, is that helping me? Like, is that thought going to make me take a better action? Is that thought helping me get closer to my partner? Is that thought financially helping me grow? Or is that thought bringing about my business or my message to the world? Is that doing something for me? Because if it's not, good, that's fine. You've had that thought, served its purpose, you can let it go. Now you just need to replace it with a new one. You plant a new thought. This is going to be your job over the next few months to start planting new thoughts. And again, they don't have to be, don't expect it to come to fruition automatically. It's not like you just plant it and automatically it's there. That's not how it works. It takes time to evolve. And so you want to be planting the thoughts continuously. Like, I feel good. I love my body. I'm confident. I feel great in front of people. People like me. It's saying those things to yourself and getting yourself amped up enough and doing it on repeat, not constantly all day long. Just tend to it each day. Is this thought still coming up for me? If it is and you don't like it, pull it and plant a new one. That's all you have to do.
Pull it and plant it.
It can be that simple.
You know, it reminds me of the quote where they talk about, and I know I've shared this before on the podcast, but it seems so fitting with the garden theme. But they say, don't judge the day by the amount of harvest that you reap, but by the seeds that you sow.
Boom.
And I really feel like that's it. It's just planting positive seeds every single day and celebrating the fact that you are showing up and you're choosing to be the light, because that takes courage. So with this wrap up, I want to say, like, what's the lesson here? The lesson is it's a new moon. It's a new opportunity to plant some seeds, to set some intentions, to reevaluate your life and say, am I in love with it? Am I living a 7 or above? Or are there areas that could use improvement? And if you feel that little tinge inside that's like, yep, there's room for me to grow, and you need that space, you need that support, that accountability, the community, and the coach to lift you up, hey, and call you on your BS, then this is your invitation. Join us inside the club. We absolutely love supporting our elevators to grow their mind, their body, their health, their wealth, and their spirituality to the next level. It is the elevated life, you know.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, and this is your perfect opportunity to jump in on that. If you know that this is a year that you want growth, you said, hey, I've been pretty good, or hey, I haven't really been doing much at all, but it's time now. It's time for me. I want this to be my year. Come hang out with us. This is a great opportunity for you to reach that next level for you. And maybe that next level for you is not only about achievement, maybe it's about balancing it back out with a little more relaxation. You know, there's room for everyone here because we all want more out of life. We all want to sort of grab it and squeeze it for all that it's worth. And that's what we're going to help you do.
There's room for everyone here. That's so beautiful. It made my little heart melt. Oh, well, thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been so nice to have taken a break, but I will say we freaking missed you. And we absolutely loved all the messages that we got throughout this last month. One, checking in on, you know, going through the loss of Dad, the 1-year anniversary. That was huge. And maybe we'll come back and share some insights on grief and what we've learned over the last year and how to handle that. I know that we did a podcast on grief right after my grandmother had passed, and that was the first time I'd ever really felt like a really heavy wall of that. So it's really exciting to see all the changes that are happening in our own personal life and how that's going to show up in the work that we do here on the Elevated Life and beyond. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for always sharing, always tagging us. And I wish this was an April Fool's joke, but my Instagram at The World by Britt has been hacked and I'm being extorted, which is kind of crazy. But the bright side, even though it happened the day before the Evolved Couples Retreat, the bright side is that it's kind of forced us to look at the Elevated Life Club Instagram as its own entity and put more love and energy into that as us growing together versus us growing our own individual brands and then having the elevated life. So I took that time to ask, like, what good can come from this? What am I supposed to learn from this? And it was to grow this together. And so I want to say thank you for being open to going on this journey with me and teaching and sharing the wisdom and sitting in our closet every month and recording podcasts for the world to hear. I truly appreciate.
Okay, hold on. There's something I have to mention though. So there used to be plenty of space on the floor. We have a good sized closet. There used to be plenty of space on the floor so I could sit down and we're relaxing here. This is a chill environment. We try to bring. But Britt has somehow gotten into the habit of buying pink boots maybe I didn't even notice this and it's been happening for a while, but the entire spot where I used to sit is totally full of pink, only pink. There's not another kind. Pink boots, literally everywhere. Woman, I love you.
I know you do. It's because I have pink boots, right?
It's true.
Well, again, thank you so much. We love you. It's always nice to share our life with you, and we appreciate you sharing our wisdom with the world. So if you love this message, please reach out, share it, tag it, give it to a friend, whatever you got to do to spread the good vibes, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life Podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.